Hey, I want to welcome you to this episode of the CVC Home Service Success Network. This is sponsored and brought to you every single week by the CVC Success Group. And why do we do this? Well, it's a way to share ideas, share concepts, to share ideas with those of us that give us the honor and the privilege of listening to us every week on this broadcast. We hope that we present things that are of value to you and your life and help you reach those business and personal life dreams that we each have out there. So, what's today's topic? Well, yesterday was Christmas. And first of all, I want to say I hope every single one of you had a most joyous and wonderful Christmas day with your family and loved ones. Cheryl and I received quite a shock yesterday. Made us feel kind of old, to be honest with you, because we found out our first great grandchild is going to be arriving in August of 2026. I can still remember when my first grandson was born. I can still remember when my first child was born. And now it's time for a great grandchild to join the family. And hey, we're just getting larger and larger. Cheryl, what was your thoughts when you found out yesterday we had a great grandbaby coming in 2026?
Well, I went backwards from you. You said you felt older. That made me feel younger again to have a baby in the house again. I think, I miss having the little ones around.
That's it. That's one of the things, and I was telling Cheryl that yesterday. It's so different when your family is all gone and we're sitting there on Christmas Day and we're putting dinner together for everybody that comes over because we celebrate in the afternoon on Christmas Day, and that's when we have our dinner with our family members. So we're spending the day getting a meal ready, everybody coming in, setting up extra chairs because we got a pretty large group of people come in. I think we measure about 23, 24 people there for dinner and counting the two of us. But anyway, since yesterday was Christmas, it's only a week now until New Year's Day is here. And one of the things about New Year's that we always hear about is it's time to make your resolutions. But we want to change that thought a little bit today. Is it actually time to make resolutions? Is it time to set your goals? Or deep down inside, is it time to make commitments of what you're going to accomplish in the coming year, what you're going to go after, what are you going to change? Cheryl, this was your idea for this topic today. What's your thoughts on this subject?
Well, I don't know about many people out there, but I know that 99.9% of them that make resolutions don't keep them. You're looking at one. I mean, if I had lost all the weight I made resolution to do, I would be a really, really skinny person. And resolutions are just dreams and words. That's all they are. You're dreaming to lose weight. You're dreaming to make your business better. You're dreaming to be on time. You're dreaming to do all the other things that you resolve to do. But for me, if I make a goal, I will set a date at the end. And that's what makes it a goal. It has to have a finish point because then you've got a time to work towards. You've got a commitment. That to me, goals and commitments work together. If you make a goal with a date, you've made a commitment to yourself to make that, not just a dream of a resolution. And that's personal, but it also is in work. If you want to make X amount of dollars this year, if you want to increase your bottom line by X amount of percentages, you need to set that percentage amount and you need to set a time that you're going to work towards making that happen. And then it becomes a reality. And if you're as bad as sometimes I feel like I am, and I've watched my grandmother for years and couldn't understand, and it wasn't the same reason, why she had a calendar and every night she marked an X on that day. And for a lot of us that are getting older, that's just to remember that the next day is Thursday. But it's the same way with a goal. Put it on a calendar. Look at it. Mark the days out to it. If you have a large goal, break it into mini goals. And I'm going to use pounds because it's easier to work with than a work commitment. If you need to lose 40 pounds, don't make a goal to lose 40 pounds in a year. Make a goal to lose 10 pounds in 3 months, 10 more pounds, and 10 more. Break it into mini goals if that's what you've got to do. Resolutions do not have to be reachable, but goals need to be something that you can reach. And that's the best way I can explain it for me and for people when I talk to.
So here's a couple things that I'm going to share with you. You got to make commitments that you actually mean. You actually want to make these things happen, because often commitments are broken before the promise is even made. You say yes when you've considered the time, energy, and priorities that you have to allow you to do this. You got to be very clear about what you're committing to and by when are you going to do it. Keep it in mind, if it's too vague, it's real easy to abandon that idea. A clear commitment is easier to keep than a hopeful one. Here's additional things. People keep promises that align with who they believe they are. Some people say, I'll try to do this. Well, that's not going to work. Think the other way. Are you the kind of person who finishes what you start? Do you keep your word even when it's inconvenient? Identity driven commitments last longer than motivation does. That's the way it is. Cheryl, what do you think about that?
I agree. I mean, I think we choose the wrong path to set things on. And we let little things, there's major things that happen. Let's just put that in there. Things have to change. But you've got to go at something with the idea and the commitment and the goal that you're going to do it. It's not just something you want to do.
Yeah.
And a lot of times tell it to someone that really trusts you and that will stand behind you, because I'm going to tell it the way it is for most people. You need a buddy to get you to the end of the goal.
Yep, that's where mentors come in. Break your commitments into visible actions. Too large commitments fail when the next step isn't obvious, it's just not visible to you. Define your next action. Make it small enough to start even on a bad day. Schedule it. Don't just intend to do it. You can't say, hey, I've got a goal to grow my business. You got to have a goal to gain 2 new customers by tomorrow morning. Use external accountability. Tell someone that you trust what you're committing to. Set deadlines that involve other people. Track your commitments publicly or in writing. If no one knows what's in your brain will quietly renegotiate. What do you think about those things, Cheryl?
Write it down. I don't care how you feel about writing yourself a note. Write it down. I like those points.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about when I say a dream board.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people do. They make a dream board. And I think that's great, because a dream board is what you'd like to do, but you may not make it. Make a goal board. Make a commitment board. Put it where you can see it.
Okay.
I think the best thing is to make a calendar that's on your desktop and it's there so you see everything you've got a goal set for.
Yeah. You got to keep your small promises to yourself, because that's what this is. Do what you say you'll do, especially when no one is watching. Start with your small, winnable commitments. You got to have self-trust. Every crap promise is going to strengthen the next one. Reflect when you break one. Reflect on it. What happened? Why did you break this commitment? Was the commitment realistic or was it unrealistic? What got in the way? What stopped it? And here's a big one. Did you have a system that failed? It wasn't just my effort. Because what you got to understand is growth comes from analysis, not from self-attack. These are all good things. And Al Levy just posted in there, great advice. That's fantastic. We've got some great people watching today. I see Randy Pennington liked our broadcast a while ago, Cheryl. So anyway, what's your thoughts on those?
I think they're all great. The thing is, life changes. Be aware that you're going to have to change sometime. but don't give it up. Just extend your line a little bit farther out. The thing about it is, if I break a promise to you, is it going to hurt your feelings? It's going to hurt your feelings, okay? If I break a promise to me, I've committed a problem because that promise was to me. If I can't keep my promises to myself, my commitment, if I can't keep those, if I can't make the goals myself, my commitments, my promises, my whatever you want to call them, how can people expect for me to keep my commitments to them? And I think that's where a lot of people don't realize that people watch you and what you can accomplish because you've set out to do it.
Yeah. And here's a couple simple rules to finish up what I'm talking about. Don't promise yourself what you will not schedule. You can't just put everything off to tomorrow. Tomorrow will never arrive. Don't schedule what you cannot protect and won't do. It's going to involve your personal habits, your work and leadership commitments, and your business follow through, especially if you are an owner or a manager. Those are kind of thoughts for you to process into this. So, Cheryl, what else would you say about commitments like we're talking about here? Because so often people make New Year's resolutions and in the first week they're out the window. What else do you do?
Number one, something I used to do, and I need to get back doing it. I used to keep a journal. You know that. That's when I was in the Ziegler stuff. I always kept a journal. And I could go back and look at what I had thought days prior. And for some reason, I've gotten out of that habit. And I think that's going to be one of my commitments to myself is get back into the journal. I mean, it takes 5 minutes. It's not a huge thing. And that makes me accountable to myself. And that's what it is about having a mentor or something, somebody to hold you accountable, because I wish we all were, but we're not perfect. We falter. We let things get in the way. Medical stuff comes up. There's so much that can get in the way. But the one person at the very end of the day that you need to be accountable to is yourself. Because what's the thing? Be true to thyself. And I think that's where when people make their commitments, their goals, and sometimes even their resolutions, they're not listening themselves. People will listen to you or listen to someone else talk, but they don't listen when they start giving themselves advice. And I think that's where many people miss the points.
Yeah. So if you're in the South, we're from the South. One of the most important parts about New Year's is that New Year's meal. Cheryl, what's on a Southerner's table on New Year's every year? What should they be having for dinner on New Year's Day?
Pork, black eyed peas, collards, and cornbread if you in my family.
There you go. That is the traditional meal of every Southerner on New Year's Day. Maybe you ought to think about it this year. Maybe it'll get you there. I know I've been traveling some on New Year's Day before, and it's like, hey, we got to find somewhere that serves New Year's meal on the road here today, which is hard to find sometimes. So anyway, I want to thank you for joining us today. As always, it's an honor, it's a privilege, and it's a pleasure for us to be able to speak to you in this manner. And with that, hey, we'll see you next week on the next episode of the CVC Home Service Success Network. Have a fantastic week ahead, and our hope is for you to have the most joyful holiday season. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next time.